Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us today. My name is Janae, and on behalf of my sister's keeper, I just want to say that we're so happy that you're here with us today. Today's conversation is all about healing, moving forward, and finding a little more peace in this crazy thing called life. And we're super excited to introduce a new program called Forward, created through an amazing partnership with Rhythm and Stroke and My Sister's Keeper. And here to tell us all about it is the man behind the movement, Mr. Andre Morton, founder of Rhythm and Stroke LLC. Andre has this beautiful way of connecting swimming, wellness, and emotional healing, and I can't wait for you all to hear his story. So, Coach Andre, welcome. We are so happy to have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm privileged to be in the attendance today.
All right, so let's just kick things off. Tell us a little bit about you and how Rhythm and Stroke came to life.
Okay, so yep, I'm Coach Andre. Rhythm and Stroke is the name of our business. We teach swimming as well as circuit training. So we do workouts in the water as well. Back in 2014, I got my LLC, and I began to teach under the business. I have been teaching swimming pretty much all my life. Once I learned as a young child, once I got a knack of it, I taught my cousins and family and friends and all those type of people. Um, I have to give my wife a whole lot of credit. So before my business started, it was her, my wife Kim, who saw something in me that I did not see in myself. So she saw that I could swim very well, but I actually helped her to learn how to swim. So she was the one who convinced me to turn this into a business so that I could be of service to more people in our community. But 2014, the business started, and we've been rolling ever since. One of the programs that we initially started, because we always want to give back, is called our Do It Afraid program. So not only do we also know that people in our community, a lot of us don't know how to swim or have water safety knowledge, but even the funding to do so, can be challenging, or we just choose to put our money towards other things. So do it afraid. If people qualify, it is for people who were truly fearful of the water, and they have to write us a letter. And then if we like the story and it's good enough, because we select usually 10 people, um, then they would get free lessons of either 5 or 10 free lessons. And this is for children and adults. So we're always about giving back, is why I'm saying that. So ever since we've started our business, we give back to the community in this way. And now even fast forward, what we're doing with My Sister's Keeper. So this is another give back in this partnership that we're doing. But how we started the business was my wife pretty much for a couple of years kicking me in the behind, saying, you got something, you need to put it to use to be of better service to the community. And here we are now.
All right. So, what made you want to mix swimming with wellness and mental health instead of just teaching people how to swim?
Well, I'm gonna speak from my own personal experience. So when my wife first saw me swimming, she thought that I was training for the Olympics. What she did not know was that all of that I was dealing with a lot of depression at the time. I was dealing with a lot of stress at the time based on, just my economic situation and my job. Even struggling with a bit of anxiety. So swimming helped me to manage all of that at that time. It still does, but I'm in a much better situation now. So, when we talk about, mental stability and overall health, I will say that I was probably in some of the best shape of my life. Swimming is a full body workout.
Yes, it
Whatever's
is.
going, yeah, you're right. Whatever's going on with it's going to work a little bit of everything. Not only that, just your mood. Even if you come to the pool, if you're not having such a good day, even if you're having a good day, once you get in that water and get moving around, those endorphins start to kick in. Um, it's less likely that you're gonna leave in a bad mood. You're going to leave in a good mood. Once you get moving and know what you're doing, those endorphins kick off and the body and the mind starts to feel better. When I teach people in the water, one of the first things that I approach them from is the perspective of, breathing and connecting your body with the motion. I mean, with you're connecting your motion with your breathing. So we do some exercises where we're opening and closing our arms. While we're doing that, we're connecting to our breath. I know when this part of the process happens that this is going to cause ease, not dis-ease, but easing in the body. It helps to open your lungs. It helps to quiet and calm the mind, which in turn helps to calm the body. When the body feels good and the mind feels good, then the process of learning, you start to open up. You're more open to doing the things that I'm asking you to do, the different skills. And so I look at it from that approach, that holistic approach. I know that when people come to the water, we have different limitations, and like you said, in these cases, if you're dealing with different diseases within the body, sometimes I don't know what that is, but I can tell on a person's face, that they may be going through something. So one of the things, once we do those breathing exercise, then the next thing I want to transition you into is using that breathing under the water. And Janae knows this very well with the bobs. Um, it can be it's a very so one of the things you have to open your lungs, but when you're blowing your bubbles, this is the opportunity for you. I always say, whatever is going on with you in the moment, whether it's good or whether it's not so good, when you give that energy through the bubbles that you are blowing into the water, that water will give you back some positive energy, right? So I would say water to healing. It's not a cure-all, but it will help you manage. It helps you manage your mental stress, right? Um, Tiredness, fatigue, whatever limitation that you have. We have people that might be obese. They may have one leg. They may be struggling with serious body limitations. In the water, though, all those limitations can be overcome. So there's many angles at which we can look at how the water helps us to preserve not only our bodies, but helps us to enhance our mental state of mind just by feeling good, right? And the mind, that also can cause some healing for the body. So I look at all of these things as I'm teaching a person and before I'm teaching the person. And I know that once I can get you in tune and in harmony and relax with the water, the natural healing of the water and you in a good mind state, not only does it make it easier for me to teach you, but whatever whatever other types of healing that you need that I may not know nothing about will start to happen just based on you being in the water, being in tune, being one with the water.
And I will say, speaking from personal experience, like dealing with anxiety, I will say that coach will really meet you where you are with making sure that you're familiar with the water. And part of the anxiety that I have is, the fear of the unknown. So if you're a person with control issues, that's probably one of the biggest fears when you're getting the water, you can't control that water. So it's like a way that you're surrendering to the water. And I will say, it almost feels like a spiritual, experience when you're in there. There's been days where I've been dead tired. I didn't want to feel like doing anything, but once I got in that water, it's like everything released, and I left out the water feeling refreshed and renewed. Like I'm no exaggeration at all. And like even with the blowing the bubbles and the bobs and things like that, or just floating, it kind of puts you in a meditative state to where you just feel so relaxed and relaxes your muscles, relaxes your mind. So you just like literally how coach says you get in one way and you literally get out another, for sure.
I just
Another
wanted
question
to,
for
oh,
you.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
For folks who may not be fully aware of the rhythm and stroke experience,
Mhm.
in your opinion, what makes you different than a regular swim class?
Okay. Well, one of my mottos that I say, I'm the man that puts the rhythm in your stroke. So I definitely focus on the rhythmic part of the swimming, knowing that there are a lot of drills, right, that I have, and there's a lot of tools that we use. For example, if we were working on let's say, the freestyle stroke, right? Um, I'll use a barbell, I can use a noodle, but it's the way that I approach the movements of your body, right? So I know that Your arms have to be able to sync up with your legs, have to be able to sync up with your breathing and all of that. And the way I perceive it, it has to look smooth, but it has to look rhythmic at the same time. So we have to get in a rhythm, just like when you're on the dance floor. So I'll give you a quick example. So, for example, when some people in the water are having trouble kicking, right? They're kicking, but they're not getting anywhere. And so I'll explain to them, you have to press down on the water, but I relate it to music in a way. So I'll say, okay, here we go. So imagine I say, have you ever hit a drum? Have you ever played drums before? And they say, well, most of the time, some people say yes, some people say no. Even if they say no, I've never really played drums. I say, your legs are the sticks, okay? The water is the drum, okay? When you hit that water the right way, you got to get a beat. And I usually tell you, you got to get a 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Your legs are the sticks, the water is the drum. Your legs are the sticks, and the water is the drum. When you hit that drum, which is the water, with your sticks, which is your legs, the right way, and you start that beat, that 4 count, when you hear that sound, that is you making music. And usually it takes a few times, and when the people when they connect to it, and I'll say whatever your dominant side. So if you're right-handed, it's probably gonna be your right leg. If you're left-handed, probably gonna be your left leg. That starts the rhythm. Boom, 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 boom. And then the next thing you know, once they catch that rhythm, once they catch that beat, and not next thing you know, they're moving forward. So the legs are the sticks, the water is the drum. You hit that drum, and then you start to catch that rhythm. So I'm all about figuring out ways for you as the individual to catch the rhythm of the stroke. I know multiple ways to get to the goal, multiple ways to do that. That's just one example that I use. And all I know is once you get in that rhythm, you got it. And we lock into that. And so the rhythm naturally starts to allow you to progress and move forward. So then we put that rhythm with the rhythm of the pull and the rhythm of the breathing. When it all comes together, the way I perceive it when I'm looking at you is like we're making music. Okay. So that's that's how I that's how when I'm teaching, I help you to put the rhythm in your stroke.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about float forward.
Mhm.
Can you break down what the float forward experience is like?
Well, with the ladies that I have experienced thus far, again, Janae said it best. I meet you where you're at. So one of the ladies the first that came, she wanted to improve upon. She already has some swimming knowledge and skills, but she wanted to improve upon her breathing a little bit, and then also she wanted to go back and just make sure she she knew how to do what she said that she could do, which was floating. One of the things, so we worked on being in the body in a, yeah, there we go. There she is. Yep. Very good. So we worked on being in the body in a very relaxed position. She thought initially that she was relaxed, but she struggled a little bit. So we had to shift her body position. While she was doing that, we also had to connect to her breathing. So there's certain ways that you inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Once she was able to get relaxed, again, that float came out so well. We also had to make sure that she could turn herself around, using your limbs in certain way. All of these things, and one of the most important things I told her was slow, slow and steady. You have to gain control. And when you think about it in the water, this same control can be applied to the control in your life. People will tell you in the meditation, you got to slow down your breathing, right? If you have anxiety and you want to calm down, they tell you, take these deep breaths, hold your breath, then exhale, similar to what you're doing when you're on your back breathing or when you're on your stomach in the water. So we would do inhale, exhale, and connecting the breathing, what we were doing with the motion of our body. So if she turned herself around, she needed to make sure that she was inhaling and exhaling in rhythm as she was moving through the water.
Thanks, Coach. I know we touched briefly on it, but why do you think water is such a game changer right now when it comes to, restoring yourself after the hard life stuff, like illness, grief, or just being overwhelmed?
And, the earth is majority water, and we have water within inside of us. It is, but once you immerse yourself in water, it's again, one other than a workout, it's a full body workout, but it's something about immersing yourself in that element. I will say this, I feel very strongly. I always tell people that water is, I believe there's feminine and masculine, but I tell women's that what they call women's intuition will serve you well in the water. To get the feel of the water, it's not logic and reason. It's knowing how things feel. When you move the water in a certain way, the water will respect your movements, right, and help you to move in it so that you don't hurt or harm yourself. As long as it's still water. But everything from you can meditate in the water, especially people who need knee replacements. So I've had a lot of clients who had bad knees, and they come in. They can't do much on land, but when they get in that water, they can be hopping around like a schoolgirl, jumping up and down, so your body is able to do things in the water. If you're struggling or have limitations that you just can't do on land, and you can do more repetition. Um, the water allows you to relax, the buoyancy factor of water. I had one client who is learning to swim, but she has some issues with her neck, and she has an issue with her lower back. So I laid her on her back. We put noodles under her, and I just allowed her to sit there and float. And she went into like a meditative type of state, but the stress that she had on her neck started to go away in that moment. And so I needed her to relax her body, relax her mind. Um, I've had people that come in, they have, a lot going on. We got a lot going on in society. When you can just lay in the water and float, it releases all your cares kind of go out of the way for that moment in time, right? So relieving the stress of the mind, the water will help. Once you can fully immerse yourself in the water and allow your body to relax, it takes some of your cares away and it relieves that stress. The water is a natural healer in that way. And so I think that's why at this time a lot of people are coming back to the water. I would also like to say for, especially black folks, um, there are, I would say, ancestrally and genetic. We know we have a lot of trauma, ancestral trauma as it pertains to water, during the time of segregation and slavery and either further back. However, there was many periods of time where black people, African people were the best swimmers on the planet. So I feel, this is global thing that our ancestors are definitely calling us back to the water for a greater purpose. And we can see that in how many parents are encouraging, at least if they don't know how to swim, they're making sure their children know how to swim. So you see that more and more. But then also you see adults coming back and wanting to learn how to swim. So I think, it goes across all groups, but specifically as far as black folks, I think there's definitely an ancestral component to what we see going on with us at this time. And people like myself, I just see myself as a guide helping us come back and remember what we used to do in the water, bringing that back. We all have the ability to do it. We all have the ability to swim. We can all float. It's just we need to be taught. And some, like myself, I'm here to help guide you back in that way. But health wise, I mean, it's so numerous. Anytime you can immerse yourself in that liquid and not only feel relaxed, again, it's mind, body, and I would even say spirit in that sense. That connection, once you get in that water, that connection can happen very quickly once you get relaxed. So I would say that it's just part of an ancestral movement at this time that is happening in the realm of spirit to us here physically. And but more people are recognizing that the water therapy, that's where it's at. I always tell people that even work out on land, young people, they're doing the either whether they're lifting or they're doing the step cardio and all of that type of stuff. At some point, your body's gonna start telling on you, when you do your land workout. So even if you don't swim, yep, there we go. If you get in, do a little bit of water, that will help you manage your body as you age. So some of those knee problems and those hips problems may not affect you as much if you can manage it with just getting in just a little bit water exercise as you age. So I just think we're in a time where people are recognizing that more. And most doctors know the power of water.
Mhm.
A lot of things I know they want to prescribe a lot of drugs, but they also know that the mind, when you're in the right mindset, you can start to heal yourself as well. And you can speed up that process, I feel, a little bit when you get in the water.
Wonderful. I like how you correlated, swimming in the water, correlating back to our roots with our ancestors. So speaking of roots, how did the partnership with My Sister's Keeper come about?
Well, Janae Blackwell, we were having the conversation, and I knew that Janae where you work, and so in our session, Janae had asked me. She said, "I know that you have worked with a lot of the ladies who are dealing with with the cancer." And looking for different ways to reach out to them to handle that more even from a mental standpoint. And I just knew that when you asked me that, I was like, the water would be great for them, because I can't go against whatever a doctor, I can't go against what chemo and all of these other things that have to be done, but I do know that the water itself can provide some healing energy. And depending on how you want to approach it, if you want to approach it from a learn to swim perspective, we can make that happen. If you want to approach it from a workout perspective, and I meet you where you're at, I can show you different movements that will not only help you improve your health physically, but then also enhance just your mind so that you feel good. One of the things I love is that thus far the ladies that have come, when they leave out of there with a smile on their face, right? And they leave out there feeling good. And I know that is a part of what helps a body heal. Is if you smiling, that means your cells and your atoms in your body are also smiling, right? So that obviously it has to mean something when it pertains to the healing. And so once Janae asked me, and then I started to think about it, and once I talked to my wife and we connected the dots, it said, and just from the perspective of a float, because everything I was telling Janae, everything starts from a float first. That's the foundation. From that foundation, you can build on swimming skills, you can move through the water the way you want to move, but the foundation is floating. And so once we start from there, not only are we able to float forward, but that's a metaphor for healing forward in the water.
Mhm. Wonderful. So I know you mentioned some of the ladies coming already. What have people been saying after trying Flow Forward? Is there any like cool stories you can share with us? What have you seen so far?
The better. She I know she said that, so she learned, I remember when she learned how to swim before, and she was able to do a few things, but the way I taught her, the way I showed her, she didn't learn in that way. And so
Mhm.
it was just a different approach, but she was able to pick it up rather quickly. Just little things like being able to being floating on your back and being able to turn yourself around and explaining, why that is important and how that is important. Um, that was the thing. She appreciated the fact that I was able to explain when she wasn't able to do things. I was able to explain why, and then also how to make the correction, because I'm very knowledgeable and I do research. And if I don't have the answer, I'm gonna go research it and figure out the answer. But she didn't. I can't remember the specific skill right now, but I know she had asked. She said they never explain. I never understood why why this couldn't work for me. And then once I explained why it didn't work and then how to do it correctly, and she
Mhm.
felt a lot better. So I would say I teach you the, what, the when, the why, right, and the how, right? And any good instructor worth their salt should be able to explain that to you as well. And if they can't, they need to do their research and find it out for you.
We do like to say that Devetta actually said that being in the water with you, it helped her neuropathy immediately. So that's always a plus when someone can literally say there's an instant help with something. So kudos. Thanks, coach. Um, where do you see Float Forward heading? Any dreams or plans to make it bigger or expand it?
That's a good question. I'm kind of in an organic way. I like to just see things flow the way they flow. Um, I love what I've seen from my interaction with the ladies thus far. So I definitely think this can grow for sure, like without a shadow of a doubt. I see the benefit, like I just forgot about that, but yeah, you mentioned neuropathy. I think with my approach, my calm demeanor, my goal is to always kind of transfer some of me to my client or the person that I'm working with, and once they catch that vibe, it will help them in the water with whatever's going on with them. So I definitely see it growing, and I guess it's just a matter of, are keeping it to, what level of swimming somebody may want to go to. Or I even suggested, if a person doesn't want to swim or work out, I would say I am not a therapist, but I do know ways to help a person relax in the water. I know different movements that can help you uh, uh, feel feel that you're getting the workout in the water, but not taxing your body. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm not going. I don't. If you don't want to be taxed, I'm not going to tax the body, right? But we don't. So we don't even have to swim, or we don't even have to work out. But we can do some more therapeutic type of movements that I do know how to do. If it's just about settling the mind, if it's about relieving anxiety, I do know some skills and drills to help you get there. And then I just want to dovetail when Janae was talking earlier about anxiety. Um, I know different movements in the water that can match let's say, an anxiety type of feel in the water. So a person being in a real anxious state in the water, that might translate as somebody, moving real fast. They get real nervous. And so there's certain ways that you can move like that. It may be a little frantic at first, but when you do it in the way I show you how to do it, eventually that anxiety will start to lessen. And in the water, it has to for survival purposes. So I'm always showing you ways to move so that I can match where you're at, but I always want you to survive. And that survival can also be a testament to just life in general. You can translate these things. So like told Janae one time, if you get in trouble in the water and you are frantic and you're panicking, basically, right? I'm gonna show you there's a ways you can move to match that panic situation, but to still keep yourself moving forward without your head going under the water. And eventually, if you continue to move your body in this way, you will start to relax. You will start to calm down. But sometimes we have to match an anxiety type of mood. We have to match a frantic type or a panic type situation. But if we move it in the right way, all of that will start to come down. And it has to in the water because you have to be able to survive. You can't survive if you're overly anxious the whole time in the water. It's not going to work. If you're constantly in a panic situation, you won't survive. And so that's what I teach. I teach you how to survive in the water as well.
All right. So for those who are not fully aware, with the Float Forward service, there's two particular programs under that. We have the raw service and we also have the swimming lessons. Coach, do you mind going over each of those programs and the difference between the two?
Okay, yep. So I'll start with the raw. So that's our rhythmic aquatic workout. So I do have some equipment that I use in those sessions. Those are 30-minute sessions. I have an aqua bike, I have a treadmill in the water, and I also have a trampoline that goes in the water. I also have this other tool. It's a stick and it has a bungee cord attached to it. So we also use that in our circuit training. But the main things are the bike, the treadmill, and the trampoline. So when a person gets in, so some of the ladies have already have experienced that, the bike, the trampoline. So sometimes I'll start you off with just get on the bike and I'll see what you can do, see what intensity level the just by turning on it, just by you spinning on that bike in the water, that automatically creates resistance. We also have jets in our pool, so I turn the jets on. So while you riding on that bike, now you got some water coming at you, a current, which creates more resistance. So it leads to a great workout. Same thing with the trampoline. Our trampoline, I will say this, our trampolines do have bars on them, so you're not a lot of trampolines that you see people work out on, they don't have anything to hold on to. You're just bouncing. We have bars that come up the side, go across the middle, so you definitely have something to hold on to, so you can feel secure when you're bouncing on our trampolines. And then the treadmill as well. The treadmill is on an incline. It is self-propelled. You do have to do the work. So however intense you are, yep, that's the trampoline right there. That's a trampoline workout. And then but the on the treadmill is on incline, so you do the work, you propel it. So how fast or slow you choose to go, is on you. But once your feet hit those rollers, it's definitely a good workout. And we have the added benefit, like I said, of the jets for that workout. And then the swimming, whatever level that you're at, if you're a beginner, if you're intermediate, or if you're advanced, I meet you where you're at. If you starting at ground zero, we start at ground zero. We start with our breathing exercises. We get you comfortable putting your face in the water. Um, Beginning learning how to float, learning how to roll your body over. And then once those foundational skills are set, then the process of learning to swim begins. If you already have some skill, I'll test you, see what you can do, make sure your form and your technique is correct. If it is, and then we'll move forward. With our swimming, I do have an assessment tool that I can use. We have 7 levels. So if you want to know what level that you're at the end of your first 5 sessions, I'll go and I'll check off the skills that you achieved. And so you can see, am I level one, level two, level three, all the way up to level seven. So we do have that as well. But yeah, the swimming, much different from the workout. So the workout, we actually use equipment, or some days you may come in and I'll say, okay, we're not going to use any of the treadmill, the trampoline, or the bike today, but we'll use a noodle. You always use the current, and we'll have you run or walk at a fast pace against the current, maybe using a noodle or a barbell. So we have a multiplicity of ways that we can get a good quality workout in. And again, I meet you where you're at. Of course, I'm a coach, so I definitely always want to challenge you to do more. But if you cannot do something that I'm asking you to do, that's fine. I'll tamper it down a little bit for you. But those are the two programs right there.
All right, Coach. So, um, for those of you who've been watching the Zoom, you may see different videos popping up of folks in the pool. Coach, can you tell us a little bit about the swim spa? You know, what people are actually swimming in and what the experience will be like coming into your facility?
Yeah, so this is the swim spa. This was a godsend. After COVID, we couldn't go back to the places we were at. So God blessed us with the ability to have this swim spa. It is 15 feet in length. It is 7.5 feet wide. It is 4.5 feet deep. The water is warm. It is comfortable. So you're not like, most pools are cold. So you will be comfortable in our swim spa for sure. It is a very intimate space, so it's private. So no, unless you're doing a workout with a friend or something like that, it's just you and I in that water, and it's warm. Again, the jets are on the front end. I don't know if you can see in one of the videos, the front end, there's a big machine there, and that's where the water for the jets comes out of. There are bars, no, one, two, two, four, five. There are 5 bars in that swim spa. So when you get in, if you're feeling a little shaky or uncomfortable, you just grab onto one of those bars, okay, and you can hold on to until we get you off the wall so you feel comfortable. On the floor, there are these gray mats. These mats are for, so when you get in, there's a white part and it is more slippery. But those two big mats will help you to keep your footing when you get into the water. And other than that, yeah, the bars is the great feature. And then we have the jet. So you'll be comfortable in the water. And because it's not like a big pool, it's not as intimidating as a much bigger space, right? So, like I said, it's intimate. I'm right there. I am close by to you. Most of the time, especially when you come, I get in the water with you. But then once I see that you're comfortable enough to be in there by yourself, I just sit up on top or on the deck. So I'm still close, but I want you to have full range of the space to do your thing in the water. So, but I'm always near. And just to say this, not only am I an instructor, I am a lifeguard. So I play both roles. So I ain't gonna let nothing happen to you. Right. So if something go off, I'm in lifeguard mode right away.
And there's always music involved.
Oh
So
yeah, that's
you
right.
can definitely set the scene and the ambiance if needed.
That's right. That's right. Yep, there is music involved in this. And so for those who, and sometimes I haven't done this yet, but I do. If I turn the lights off in my swim spa and there's lights on the inside, you can kind of see some in the back of the video here. If a person wanted to get into a more of a meditative type of state, I can turn the lights off in the room, but there will still be lights illuminating the pool that you're in. So it makes for a very nice setting for if you want a more meditative type of state. I
Mhm.
can do that as well.
And what about like the separate swim spa where you can wait and change and things like that?
Oh yes, I'm sorry. So I need to go through my own orientation, right?
I keep you on your
Yeah.
toes, coach. Keep you on your toes.
Right. Oh no, thank you. So yep, so once you come in, so we do have a we have a area where you can sit down on the bench, right? If you want to put your you can put your shoes in the cubby hole. We have a towel rack there. But outside of the pool area, there's another room connected. We call that our sunroom. In there, that's where people come in. You can change your clothes privately. Nobody's in there. There's no cameras in there watching you. There's a restroom in there as well. We don't have a shower at this time, but that is something that we're working on. But you can comfortably change your clothes and use the restroom in there. If a person like Janae, when she brings her daughter to lessons, she's able to stay in that room, relax, be on the computer, talk on the phone, whatever she wants to do. It's cooler in there, and we have a monitor. She can see and hear what I'm doing, teaching with her daughter in the water. But if you come as an individual, you can go in that room. That room is all yours. You leave your stuff in there. Nobody's coming in there. You come back out to the pool. We get your workout going. I tell you, bring your towel out. And then you go back in there and change when you're done. If you forget your towel, we have extra towels. So we know sometimes people forget them. So we keep extra towels, and I always tell you where to leave your towels. That's me and my daughter, the water princess dancing. Um, the floor right there, so those things, the blue and gray that you see on the floor, so you can walk on the floor without, as long as you're not running, without slipping. So the water goes down to the concrete below. So that's our non-slip resistant, or for the most part, slip resistant flooring that we have there. I put your name on the board. When you come in, before we get started with every lesson, we say a swimmer's prayer. Our swimmer's prayer goes, "Let my mind be as clear and my heart be as pure
Pure as
as the
the
water."
water.
That's right. So I say that with everybody. It puts us in the right mind space and heart space before we get in the water. So, we approach as soon as you come in the door, and once you get changed, from my perspective, it is my job to make you feel as comfortable and as relaxed as possible before we get in the water. Then once we get in, and I know sometimes people are not comfortable even then, but then that's when we go into the breathing exercises and the other things that I know how to do to help you get relaxed in the water.
Thanks, Coach. And I just also want to reiterate while we are talking about Float Forward, this is a free service to our sisters. So please make sure that you take advantage of this. If you're interested, you can always go on our website and sign up for this service, and then we'll go ahead and start the process for you to get your services started. Again, this is free for all of our sisters of My Sister's Keeper. Now, Coach, any
Yes.
new projects cooking up at Rhythm and Stroke that we should keep our eyes on?
Mm, the only thing that I would say you can keep your eyes on are swimming clinics. Yeah, yeah. So we always are offering swimming clinic. Right now, Cleveland, we've been doing our swimming clinics at Cleveland State University. These are individualized. Not of course, the water is not as warm as our water, but specific skills like kicking. So we do kicking clinics, breathing clinic, deep water clinic. I'm gonna probably be doing a treading water clinic coming up. Um, what else are we doing? I do adult learn to swim. Actually doing adult learn to swim and children's learn to swim right now. And I'm doing a boot camp class for some youth, training them to become lifeguards. So I do that as well. So those are things that I can do in a bigger pool outside of our facility. So once you get on our mailing list, you should get an email about those. So if you're interested in something like that, you can definitely participate in our swim clinics, and it gives a person an opportunity to be in, a regular size pool, or even at Cleveland State, an Olympic size pool. Being able, even though we can tread water in our pool, in our 4.5 feet, um, but to really do it well, you need to go to where there's deeper water. And when you can immerse yourself and be in deeper water and float and swim, then the confidence that you would have being in the water just goes through the roof. When you can handle yourself in deeper water, you can swim, and your chances of survival are much greater. So that's what I would say to look out for, is just as far as our swimming clinics. We do have a program that for children as well. It's called that we. It's a grant program that we are partnered with, called Every Child a Swimmer. Um, we were able to take more people initially, but they limited us to 5 people a quarter, so people can still get in. You have to meet some income guidelines for that. But if you have, grandchildren, nieces or nephews, if you reach out to us about it, you may be able to get in a wave down the road. But we do have a grant program, and that grant program gives 10 free lessons to children between the ages of 2 to 17, as long as you meet the income guidelines. Oh, I don't see Janae on there. Yes. Um,
He must have bounced off, so I guess I'll take over. He'll probably come back.
okay.
Um,
Okay.
so if you're okay, Coach, I know you're about to do orientation soon. Does anyone on the line with us have any questions for Coach?
I would like to say thank you very much. This remind me of what I was actually missing out in my life. And everything that you said is so correct. The meditation part, the floating part, all my life I had well, not all my life. Growing up, we had an Olympic pool in our backyard. And getting up in the morning time, just jumping in the pool, swimming, floating. It, that's what was missed. That's what's missing. That meditation, that coping part in my life, because it brought me so much peace. And I tell anybody, if you ever get stranded in the lake, all you got to do is get on your back and just relax and float on.
Yes.
Lord.
Thank you so very much. Where you located at, sir?
I'm in Bedford. Not far. I'm probably 2, 3 blocks from downtown Bedford.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
My apologies,
So
everyone. I seem to have lost connection, but I'm back. Sorry about that if I missed anything.
I have a question, Janae. So
Yeah.
he said something about water workout. So how often do you have classes for that?
Well, go ahead, Coach. Sorry.
No, Yeah, I was just saying I think we kind of worked that out. I worked that out with Sherry just based on the numbers, but whatever you all said, whatever my sister's keeper says is good, then we can work with that.
Mhm.
So would they be, you said you don't know yet, but would it be possible you will have some classes in the daytime? Because I work evenings.
Oh, my availability. Yeah, I do have daytime availability. I just have to look at my schedule in the week. So usually how it works, once we decide that we're going to move forward, I let you know what I have available. You let me know if you're looking for mornings. I'll let you know when if it's like if it was starting in May and I didn't have mornings in May, but I had them in June, I would let you know that. But if I do have some, I'll let you know how many days a week I have that, and then I'll create a tentative schedule for you to review. And then if that schedule, if everything else that we've business wise we've taken care of, we can go forward with that schedule. So I start as early as 6:30 in the morning. Um,
I
and
gotta
then I and then I end at like 8 o'clock at night.
Okay. I'm probably looking for something like because I work nights. So
Mhm.
I would like to do 8 o'clock. I'm usually up by 8 o'clock. And when I used to work out, I love working out in the morning because it just gave me so much energy through the day. And so now I find myself when I get up at 8 and I don't lay down and take a nap, then I'm kind of sluggish all day. So I keep telling myself I got in water aerobics because I had arthritis real bad and I was obese. I didn't lose the weight from it, but I lost weight and I don't have that much arthritis. But I just like the way I felt when I did the water aerobic because I was one scared to get in water. They gave me a noodle and I gave it back to them. I'm like, this is not big enough to hold me. So, and they tried to convince me like you, but I was petrified. But I can do the exercise in the water. I didn't even think about the fear I had in the water when I was doing the exercise. So I really want to get back into that.
Oh yeah, it would be great for you. Another thing I just mentioned too, I had a student when I used to teach at college, and she gave a testimonial. She went to the doc. She was in my water aerobics class, and she had been coming at least for a year. And her doctor told her when she went back after, and I think at this time she was the late. At that time she was probably like in her late 70s. She
Ooh,
regained bone density. And the doctor asked her, he said, "What you been doing?" He said, "You've regained some of your bone density." And she said, "All I do is I go up to the college. This young man up there be teaching me water aerobics." He said, "I don't do nothing else." And so he told her, "Well, keep doing what you're doing," because she was able to regain some of her bone density just by doing that water exercise workout with me.
let's
Wow.
see. Good. And
So,
my bones are deteriorating. Now I had a knee replaced, reverse total shoulder replacement on my
I think we lost you, Lenise. Yeah, I think we lost her. Okay, so in the meantime, just to reiterate again, this service is free to our sisters. If you're interested, just go on the website and go through the motion just to get the program started for you. Also, if you for those who are non-members of my it's under the Hey Sis form, thank you, Sherry, on the website. For those who are not yet members of My Sister's Keeper, if you're currently going through a cancer treatment or things like that, and you're not yet affiliated with My Sister's Keeper, you can always let your doctor know and they will be able to connect you with us.
mm,
And also, if anyone who's interested in this service, we can also offer transportation to you as well to your appointments. Does
yeah.
anyone else have any other questions or any questions on Facebook? All right. So, Coach, before you leave, any last words or words of encouragement to those who may be afraid of the water, afraid to start, etc.? What's something good to end with for those folks?
yeah, well, I would just say, speaking from me, once you first step is you gotta show up, right? Once you show up, then I know you made that. Once you make that first step, I got you the rest of the way. Again, I'm very patient. I'm very a calm person, and so even if you may not be in a calm state, I'm gonna do everything in my power to make sure that you get calm, right? Once you're calm, once you can calm down, even if we get in the water, and like I said, you need to stay near the wall initially. Um, that is just fine. That is just fine. And there's exercises, there's movements we can do, even whether it's learning to swim, that we can do right on the wall. The wall is a great place to start. From the wall, once you get comfortable, then I will show you how to transition from the wall and being free out in the middle of the water without holding on to anything. That's support. So I initially just know that when you come and you work out with me or you learn to swim, I am your support system. I am not only an instructor, I'm a lifeguard, so I'm always covering both bases with you. I always tell people I'm not going to let anything happen to you. I do know how to save people in and around the water, but most importantly, once you come with me, let me be your support system. But then also allow me, if you open yourself up just a little bit, I will show you how you can support yourself in the water. And then once you can support yourself, the water will support you, and good things will happen. So, and I'm very good, especially with adults. I take you step by step by step. A lot of times, adults, we are in our head. And so, it is my job to help you get out of your head and to get more into like a childlike mind. I always tell people, whether it's working out or swimming, if we rolled the clock back and you was 6 years old, right, and I'm asking you to do something, you would just do it, right? You wouldn't even think about it. And so it's just getting you in that frame of mind, trusting that the things that I'm showing you are going to be not only beneficial to you, but are going to help you to know how to handle you the best way in the water. So I'm your support system. I'm not going to let anything happen to you, but I definitely want to help guide you so that you can become comfortable and become one with the water. That's the key. When you and the water become one, that's when all the excitement happens. That's when the good things happen. And what also will happen is you will start to do things, move in ways that I didn't even tell you to do or teach you. Your natural ability starts to come out when you do these things. And then that will make you even more happy. So, again, I'm your support system, but the whole goal is when you come into our space, it is a sacred space, it is a safe space. Um, Anything you share with me does not go beyond me. Anything we do, it stays right there. Other than the stuff that we post, because I want people to be encouraged and see what you are doing in the water. But outside of that, it's a sacred space, it's a safe space, and so you can let yourself be free. You can let yourself be vulnerable. Sometimes people have breakthroughs; they break down and cry on me. Shoot, I give you a hug and let you cry, let you get it out, and then we keep moving if that's what you need. Sometimes people need that. They just need that outlet. While we're working out, we're still going to do our things. But if you need to express yourself emotionally, you can be safe expressing yourself with me in that way. It does not go past me, but sometimes you need that release, and that water makes people emotional. Right. Water brings up emotions. And sometimes those emotions need to come up. They need to come out. You need to express yourself in that way before you start working out or before you start swimming or even while you're in the process of doing that. But I just want to relay that message that our space is geared for, not only being in a meditative space, it's a sacred space. And my job is to make sure that I guide you to having the best experience where you and the water can become one, whether that's working out or learning to swim.
Wonderful, Coach. I think we're almost up. We're at about time. So everyone who was watching, thank you for joining us today to talk about our brand new fabulous program, Float Forward. Again, this service is free to all of our sisters. If you are interested, please be sure to go to our website www.myskcle.org and select the Hey Sis form and fill it out, and we will work to get you connected. Again, this is free to all of our sisters, either the swim lessons or the raw rhythmic aquatic workout. Also, be on the lookout to our upcoming events with My Sister's Keeper. First up, we have our Mother's Day, our annual Mother's Day event. That will be Saturday, May 10th. We're really, really looking forward to that. Great food, great conversation, great camaraderie. Also, our annual Walk in Her Shoes will be on October 4th. And this year we have connected with our Case Western Reserve University students. So new location, new partnerships. We're really, really looking forward to. As always, you all show out with that. And then also next year, be on the lookout for the Pretty in Pink Coronation Gala, April of 2026. So be on the lookout for that. As always, thank you all for your continued support. Coach, thank you for being with us today and giving just so much knowledge for everyone. Again, if you are interested, go on our website and fill out the Hey Sis form. Again, this is free for all of our sisters. Until next time, on behalf of My Sister's Keeper, thank you all and thank you for the continued support. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Hopefully I see y'all in the water. See you in the
All right,
water.
we'll see you in the water, Coach.
All right.